This program on investing under regulation crowdfunding is not investment advice.
Rising with the crowd, power unbound, change makers lead where hope is found. Superpowers for good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I really am excited to introduce you today to Gregory Falatek. He's a filmmaker, and I know many of you have probably never invested in a film. And this is an opportunity for you to actually invest in a film project. It's really kind of an exciting opportunity. It's an exploding area in the crowdfunding universe that more and more films are being financed this way. I want to point out that last year, the winner of the Academy Award film had a $6 million production budget. That's really well within the range of crowdfunding playing a very significant role. So we're excited to have Gregory here. Gregory, welcome to the show.
Hi, Devin. It's great to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled. Gregory, tell us about your film, Elmwood Park.
Well, Elmwood Park is a psychological thriller. It's a feature film that follows three boys, seniors in high school, through the kind of underworld of a rundown post-industrial American town, somewhere on the East Coast in the 90s. We're going to be shooting it here in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is where I grew up. I spent about 10 years in Los Angeles, really learning everything about filmmaking and acting. And I recently acted in two films, actually, that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. And I've learned a lot about both the creative side and the business side of things. So during the pandemic, we came back here and bought a house because I knew we'd be able to actually afford our first house around here. And I really just saw this place changing a lot. I was walking around, taking photos, was planning on doing a photo book as gentrification was happening around here. All these really interesting architectural kind of pieces around here were just getting destroyed. And this story came to me based on a lot of kind of past experiences. And I just took that and kind of heightened it into fiction. And we thought maybe we'd shoot a small film around here. And it's kind of grown a lot bigger than we ever expected. And we've been able to attach some really amazing actors and a great crew. And I found WeFunder as a way to open the entire production up to the community, so people could invest for as low as $100. Really,
Yeah, this is really exciting stuff. One of the people that you got attached to the film is one of my favorite people, Kate Flannery from The Office. She played the kind of the drunk on the show, and she was fabulous there. She could be such an asset to the film. Tell us about how you got her to be part of the deal.
Well, Kate was actually went to my high school, which is crazy. So she spoke at the career day of my high school, Archbishop Carroll, in Radnor, Pennsylvania, and it was really the first time that I ever thought anybody around here could be an actor. Uh, Growing up, I just did not expect that a job in filmmaking was possible. And looking back on it now as I'm older, I told her when I had a chance to meet her uh, that was a huge moment in my life of knowing that it was even possible. So when we first started making this film and started sending offers, I she was the first person on my list, and I wrote a part specifically for her so we could send it to her because that just meant a lot to me. And a big part of us making the film around here and using WeFunder is even if it makes one kid around here think that they can make a film, I think that's super important, or start acting or just do whatever creative endeavor they want to do. Because I felt like I had to kind of leave this place to learn a lot of that. And so much has changed with the internet that I don't think that's the case anymore, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it is wonderful to be thinking about how technology enables the distribution of talent and allows you to activate the talent in the local community. It'll be fun to gather some of the local talent to be in the film and to participate in the crew and the whole thing. It's very exciting to think about. the economic impact, the creative impact on the community. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about it, like the way that we're doing it. And again, additionally, the big conversation in the film industry right now is getting people back into theaters. And I think in addition to feeling like people are part of it as a potential upside investment downstream for them as like a diversification or whatnot, I also think that it's like an interesting way to build like kind of a marketing base before the film's even made, because like a lot of films I've seen at festivals don't even get at huge festivals don't get distribution, and a tricky part about distribution is kind of the offset of the taxes of the bigger companies, and a big part of this for me is doing it in a way that the people that actually put the money up can see that money back if we are successful as a film. So I think having people who not only are figuratively invested in the film in the neighborhood, but quite literally invested in the film, they might, tell their friends and tell their family and go, hey, let's go check out this movie in the theaters that I helped make, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think that's why we're seeing a surge in crowdfunding investments and activities around film because it works, right? We're seeing the track record that I think the structure of the investments works for investors oftentimes, not always, right? Some films bomb, but
Sure.
but oftentimes the structure that the crowdfunding facilitates works very well, and so maybe better than some of the like the startup and the techs where you wait forever and then they do an IPO and then the stock price crashes and you sell for what you got. I mean, anyway, yeah. So it really is partly the structure I think that you can create. So it's really cool. Um, Tell us a little bit more about the plot. Give us a little bit of an overview. Oh, yeah, yeah. Tell us about the plot.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'd say the main two characters of the story are Jasper, who's kind of a small town criminal in town, and then Jimmy, who's one of the three high school boys. And um, there's a lot of different kind of stories woven in and out of people in the town, and as the plot thickens, you see how some of that correlates. And a big portion of, I guess, the themes that came out of, while I don't want to give too much of the plot away, the three boys do witness a murder very early on in the movie. And what comes of that is them just kind of trying to go about their day, and the remnants of them seeing that catching up with them a little bit. And in the midst of that, they explore all of these kind of interesting characters and strange locations. It's located. We live right next to this very, very strange state hospital that has a lot of haunted history that they're in the process of knocking down right now and turning into like a commercial complex. My uncle actually, or my mom's uncle, uh, was in there, and since he was 13 years old, and my mom was never able to see him, so it's always been this super mysterious place, even since I was a little kid. And we happened to buy a house right down the street from it because I knew that they would be turning it into, luxury houses or whatever eventually, and I figured it was a decent investment. But before that happens, there's a lot of history in this town that I don't want to just be covered up by poorly designed buildings. No offense to any builders or anything like that around here. I just have seen it with Philadelphia and other major cities, and I'd like hopefully to preserve some of this architectural stuff, so it's not just like an exciting kind of thriller of a film that's fun to go see on a Saturday night in a theater, but it also could serve over time as like an architectural time capsule of this place.
Yeah, um, it really is important for art to happen in a community,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
you're making that happen, and people can help you make that happen by investing. Tell us a little bit about you mentioned already your journey. You spent some time in Hollywood, in LA. Tell us a little bit about your experience there and how that informs now what you're doing in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. I mean, I went out there, I guess Yeah, I was probably out there for about 10 years. I spent all of my 20s out there pretty much. I went to Penn State University and I was making music videos and music so much with my friends back in Philadelphia that I was just going home every single weekend and not spending much time at the school that I was paying to be at because there wasn't at that time there really wasn't much media studies. There wasn't much information about video production. They didn't even have a recording studio up there, so we were going back and forth to LA and shooting a lot of music videos in general at that time, even when I was like 20 years old. So we all ended up just moving to Philadelphia for a little bit, kept shooting videos, and then just drove to California and kept shooting tons of music videos and paying our rent that way. And that's how I learned cinematography, production, production design, editing, sales, everything really. Because and from doing that, I met a few people that were like, "You should totally act too," which I never even. I was like, "Cool, I'm down to do that," but I don't even know where to begin because I'm from here. I grew up making hoagies and sandwiches and stuff and doing very like blue collar jobs, and that didn't feel like it was possible for people around here. So being out there was incredible in the sense that I met so many creative people that showed me the ropes with certain things and allowed me to kind of get into acting. And I booked a Sony commercial really early on. And that was like the most I ever made for a day of work. And so I kept doing the acting in addition to any of the video production stuff, and I would learn so much on the sets too, because I would got to be on different sets with different directors and different cinematographers, and I'd talk to all the crew people and just watch how people handled things. And I'd like how people talked to those people. I hated how that director handled that. And it was actually like being in film school, but getting, paid to be on set. Even if I was working background or stuff, I would take the gig really early on because I could just learn from being on set when I wasn't shooting things. And, I ended up being in a feature film called Ham on Rye that we shot for not that much money in parking lots in the valley. And that film did pretty well. And I stayed in touch with those guys, and they kept making films. And I was in those two films that premiered at the Directors Fortnight in Cannes called Ethos and Christmas Eve in Miller's Point, all made by the same crew of people from that first movie that I met out there. But these two movies were shot in Massachusetts and Long Island. So that's another change that I've seen is like, just, I don't think you need to be in Los Angeles to make a film. We've gotten a lot of help from the community. The permits are easy around here. It's very simple because people are excited that you're doing it, which is kind of refreshing because I lived in LA for a while and people are on you if you don't have a permit out there, whereas here they're excited that you're making a movie truly and like will let you use their location.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Uh, I wonder if you would just take a minute and explain to people a little bit more about the process of investing via WeFunder.
Yep.
Because I think, despite the fact that we talk about that a lot on the show, I'm sure that a lot of the people who are watching have never invested before. And some of them are thinking to themselves, wait a minute, I could invest in a film? Tell me more. So tell us a little bit more about how that works. Walk us through just a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. That's kind of what drew me to WeFunder. It's very much like a platform like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or Seed and Spark or something like that. But what I liked about it is, you just make an account, sign up, uh, put in your email and information, and you're able to place an investment as low as $100 in lots of different amazing projects. I mean, there's people doing some truly incredible stuff for humanity on WeFunder, and I love the fact that it is kind of democratized investing. I think it happened in 2016. The Jobs Act was passed, and it allowed people that weren't accredited investors, which is $1 million net worth besides your house, to invest in things like this. And it's no longer reserved for just the ultra wealthy. And so it's just as simple as like a Kickstarter account or an Indiegogo account, but you don't just get a DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, or a T-shirt. Um, you get actual ownership in the film and can collect on it for the rest of your life, as we plan to. And I think that's really special. And we also have additional perks like Blu-rays and different cool stuff at the different levels of investments, which you can check out on our WeFunder page. Um, but I liked that, like, if you're going to raise the money and you're going to bring the community into it, I think they should truly have an ownership piece just like anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing. And let me just point out, folks, that you can get to the WeFunder page at s4g.biz/elm. That's just a short link. s4g.biz/elm will get you right to the page. You can check it out and learn more about investing. Gregory, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Uh, Folks, I'm here today with Gregory Falatek. He is the filmmaker behind Elmwood Park. This is a brilliant new thriller film that's being shot in Norristown, Pennsylvania, near Philadelphia. This has real community impact. It's a vibrant way to re-energize the art scene there. This is something that really matters. It's super fun too. So I encourage you to check it out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Gregory about his superpower. Stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Download a free copy of How to Make Money with Impact Crowdfunding, the book Sarah Hanks describes as
a fantastic overview, not just of crowdfunding investing, but of investing in general.
Andrew Savickas raved.
This book offers unparalleled insights for anyone looking to make a difference.
Scan the QR code to get your copy.
Save the date for Super Green Live, the global event on sustainability and green innovation, January 22nd through 24th, 2026. Struggling to raise capital for your business? Unlock the power of the crowd with AI. My free guide, Crowdfunding Made Simple, walks you through every step to success. Get funded smarter, faster. Scan the QR code now for your free download.
Welcome back, everyone. We're just having such a fun conversation with filmmaker Gregory Falatek about his film Elmwood Park, but we're going to shift gears now to talk to Gregory about his superpower. So stick around. You don't want to miss this conversation. Gregory, it's so cool that you have kind of returned from Hollywood, your time there, making films and being part of some cool stuff. Returned to your hometown to make films there, starting with Elmwood Park. I'm so impressed. What is your superpower?
I'd say I want to say creativity, but that's kind of part of the whole project. I'd say vulnerability, because I think my creativity comes from being open and vulnerable, actually, in my art. You know, I feel like I was kind of closed off to that, being from around here and just growing up, and people sometimes not understanding what I was doing at the time. Um, you also just don't want to be misunderstood. But I think, like, almost everybody's has a superpower in just being open-minded and vulnerable with almost anybody that you meet. Like, I find characters and ideas and things for the films and all types of great stuff from just having really, really normal conversations around here. Whereas I think when I was younger, I thought, oh, I just need to be in a different place because nobody understands around here. And I think I might have needed that for a tiny bit of time, but I'm much more mature as an artist coming back here and getting rid of all of that and just being open to talking with absolutely anybody. My dad always did that, and I was scared of it as a kid, and I've kind of become more like that in my older age.
Yeah, it really, I can see how in your line of work, that vulnerability that it allows you to be a better actor. It allows you to
Yes.
better connect with your actors when you're directing and
Yes.
producing. It's an essential part of that. You know, I'm not sure it's different in many other businesses, but
Yeah.
it's essential for what you're doing. It's powerful. I wonder if you can think of a specific instance when you were either acting in a film, or perhaps when you have been working on this film, uh, maybe your experience with Kate is an example of this. But think about a time when you were vulnerable and
Yeah.
you were able to accomplish something by being that vulnerable self.
It's interesting you bring up acting because that's definitely the best example of where at some moments, it was just such a new thing to me when I was first doing that, especially my first feature film. And I feel like just letting go and just, like you said, being able to be vulnerable and be open and be completely there and not worry about what anybody's thinking while like a camera and a crew is there is like a whole different thing than doing it on your own. But I think if you practice it a lot in your own life in just regular conversations and stuff, it's a little bit easier. And I found that I was playing kind of like a burnout type character in that. And I wanted to play it with some heart, and not any character I play, you can't judge the character. So you need this deep sense of vulnerability to make them human. Even if you're being funny about it, you need to be vulnerable to make them feel like a real person on camera.
Yeah, and we've all seen films where the people didn't feel real,
Yeah.
felt shallow, and we didn't connect. We end up playing on our phones, right? But
Yeah.
but we've also seen those films where we just feel so authentic. You
Yeah.
feel like you're in the room with human beings. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's powerful.
That's what I
Now,
love.
yeah. Now, so Gregory, as you think about this as a director, right? You've got to coach the actors on being vulnerable, and I want to remind people as you're listening to Gregory think about this from his director coaching actors role, that a lot of this applies to building relationships and being successful in all kinds of activities, whether you're talking to salespeople, whether you're talking to how to craft better stories on social media. I mean, it has infinite applications. But Gregory, talk about how you coach an actor to be genuine, authentic, and vulnerable.
I think it first starts with the casting, which I have to give a shout out to my partner and producer, Cody Chun. She's been helping me, and we've been just kind of spearheading the whole casting department on our own to keep the development costs low. And I think it first starts from the writing and the casting. I truly believe that. That's a big portion of it. And then you want to cast an actor who can kind of already be vulnerable. Hopefully, you've seen some of their work, or they're a real person. Like I like mixing actors that I know and have worked with, or I've watched in films that I like and have enjoyed their vulnerability in those roles, mixing them with real people. And we're doing that a lot in this film. And I think it grounds everybody. I think it brings the real people kind of something to look at and understand on an acting level, but it also grounds anybody that's from New York or from Hollywood that's coming to this place. I think it further brings you into the world, which is what I'm all about. I just love kind of characters, and world building are always my favorite two things about films. And that's though we're shooting this in Norristown and Elmwood Park is the park down the street, I imagine um, this as like the original cinematic universe of Elmwood Park. And I hope to expand on it a little bit, as I come up with different ideas for different characters.
Brilliant, brilliant. It is fun to think about this. Now, as we wrap up, I know there are a lot of people who want to get in touch with you. Some will have questions about investing. Some will want to talk to you about being in your film. Some will want to talk about, other aspects of this. Some just want to follow you because you're cool on social media. Walk people through a quick guide to this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could the best place to follow me on social media is definitely Instagram at Falatek, which is my last name, Falatek. Uh Falatek on Twitter too, or X. I don't use that much. LinkedIn, I just started using that recently. Gregory Falatek on that. And then for our page, the WeFunder is just wefunder.com/Elmwood Park. And you can reach out to us on there. You can book a one-on-one meeting with me on Calendly there, and I'd be happy to spend any amount of time talking to anybody about the project and get more into the details and the terms and everything.
Fantastic. Well, Gregory, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I love seeing this surge in filmmaking that is happening because of crowdfunding. I love that the Enora last year demonstrated the power of independent film to reach huge audiences and influence. I want to see you succeed in the same kind of way with your film.
Thank you so much, Devin. I really appreciate you having me on your platform. This has been great.
All
Seriously.
righty now. Now let's do some good.